What's your baseball philosophy? What got you so far?
Oh, that's a heck of a question to start with. See here, starting in high school was just all about work ethic and kind of learning lessons from the game. So that has carried me over kind of the taking approach that baseball is going to teach me life and life's going to teach me baseball. From there, just work ethic really has enabled me to perform at a level in which that I could have some success. And a lot of stuff from college. My pitching coach was very heavy into the mental side of baseball, and so I think his input from a variety of books and kind of lesson times we'd have really instilled a mental ability that I'm able to kind of draw from, and a pretty wide base to draw from. So there's not very many instances where I feel overwhelmed or ill-prepared mentally. So that's been a big part for me.
As a pitcher, do you pitch to your strengths or a batter's weakness?
Both. Your strengths always come first, or at least my strengths. Every pitcher would probably say the same thing. Strengths come first. You're going to incorporate their weakness into your game plan or the situation against them. So it just kind of depends. A guy sees a curveball really well, then we can go with a changeup or a slider. But other than that, it's really about putting the ball where you want to and kind of letting them put it in play as they can effectively or ineffectively.
And would you draft like second round?
Third
round?
Yes.
Now, being a higher pick like that, did you put more pressure on yourself? Did they put more pressure on you?
Not looking good.
I think the pressure kind of comes from media more so than anything else, because every team, every organization kind of focuses their time and efforts and media attention on their top 5 rounders and then the guys that are the top 5 rounders from the year before. So the pressure for me to have success strictly comes from myself. I mean, see people can put expectations and say what they want, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that looks in the mirror and puts those expectations on myself. But the pressure comes often from, the organization, the money you get, the money they spend, and then the media attention that you get is coincides.
Because there's a lot of times the first round draft picks, half of them make the major leagues, but a lot of them are getting passed up by guys in the 50th round. Why does that happen?
That's just all opportunity. I mean, there's guys that sign as a senior out of college that slide down the draft boards because they're seniors, because that's just the way it goes. I mean, you can draft a college senior and sign him for whatever you like, and he might have really good success. Or, for instance, if I would have stayed in Boise, Idaho, I probably could have gotten drafted in the late 30 rounds. I mean, because nobody goes to Boise, Idaho to pick up baseball players. So in draft status often, I mean, they say the baseball world's small, but there's still places for people to hide, talented baseball players to hide, where you can pick up your Mike Adams with the Cardinals, Mike Adams and Matt Carpenter, and those guys are late round picks, but somehow they kind of slid under the radar and were picked up later, and they proved they can play the game. In the end, talent speaks.
Now, when you show up for spring training, though, there's a ton of guys on the mound. How do you approach that?
Oh, you just try to go about your business. Spring training's not about it is about competing for a spot, but it's more so about getting yourself prepared for the season. So I enjoy seeing all the guys. I mean, I enjoy watching other pitchers pitch and see how they go about their business and their bullpens and their workouts and their day-to-day routines. And we've got in our spring training we had a nice pool of veterans the last 3 years to really draw from it and to learn what they do daily and throughout spring to get themselves ready for a 162 game season.
Now, baseball, they call it a failure sport. There's injuries, you go up and down the organization, and fail at times. Has there been a time that you want to give up baseball?
No, not yet. I've always said that somebody's going to have to take my spikes away, because I really do enjoy the game. I enjoy the day-to-day grind. I enjoy everything about it. So I think even after my playing career ends, I'll end up doing something in baseball. I'm not sure what yet, but I don't see any time in the near 25 years that I'm going to be out of this game.
What did you learn about professional baseball the hard way that nobody told you about before you started?
My first spring training, I went after it way too hard. College-wise, kind of practice every day and stuff, you're going really hard to prove to the staff that your intensity is good and your skill set's good, your work ethic's good. And my first spring training, I kind of took that approach. So every day I was throwing like 120 feet as hard as I could, and I was throwing my bullpens as hard as I could. And I mean, after doing that for 2 months, I was on the disabled list and sitting in extended spring training waiting, for my shoulder to heal so I could go. So that was the first, I think the biggest lesson in pro ball is how to monitor your effort level daily and be able to listen to your body and alter your workload based on what your body's telling you.
Now, once you sign a contract, obviously you're a professional baseball player. Was there a moment before that you could point to that you realized you were going to play professional baseball?
Yep. There was a Thursday night start against Steven Strasburg in San Diego, in which I pitched against him, and he punched out 23 and was sitting like 99 miles an hour. And I actually almost got scratched in that start, but ended up throwing a 3-hit, 1 earned run. I went like 8 1/3 or 7 1/3. And the next day, I had like 25 draft questionnaire from 22 organizations, I think. And I'd already spoken to 4, so at that point I was almost the whole Major League Baseball had contacted me for draft information. So that was kind of the day where I sat in the stands on a Friday afternoon and watched us play and kind of realized that pro ball is where I was headed.
You were the scouting reports where people write about you, or where you're listed in the organization charts, according to Major League Baseball in the top 30, stuff like that?
No. I mean, I guess with the Red Sox, I was kind of a top prospect for about 6 months maybe. And then they brought in some more guys and you just fell and nobody cared about you. I mean, this game, you don't have to be a prospect in Baseball America to make it in the game. And, a lot of that stuff is not stuff I care to read. I mean, I enjoy Baseball America and seeing what's happening around baseball, because it's kind of the only way you get a personal story or a buddy's story kind of in a magazine. But as for the status kind of affecting where I'm at, I mean, everybody says I'm a long reliever or a 5th starter, but we'll start as long as I can and we'll see where that takes me, and maybe end up with 2 or 3 on a team. But if I'm a 5 or a long relief or just a reliever, then that's just the way it goes.
Well, mom or dad, they call you up and say, "Hey, guess what I read about you? I hate this guy."
All the time, yeah. I mean, I don't know about I hate this guy, but there's plenty of ways to. I mean, my wife sets her phone to Google Alerts. Anything Stephen Fife on Google Alerts pops up, she takes a look at it. So my parents are the same way. It's kind of exciting for them. I mean, whether it's good or bad, I guess I can't say that all publicity is good publicity, but for the family, I mean, whether it's like positive or negative, it's just fun for them to see me in an article.
How do you handle the fans? People yelling and screaming at you all the time.
It's just part of you got to take it as part of your job. I mean, there's no other way to get around it. I mean, sometimes it becomes a little overwhelming at times in terms of the timing of when fans, show up to the hotel or whatever. And to me, that's not exactly a time where I'm working, so that I always be cordial and nice to fans. But there's a time to interact with them and field requests, and then there's a time where you're away from the field and away from the game, and that's your time to kind of do whatever you want.
How about the umpires, especially as a pitcher? How do you handle the umpires?
I mean, they're just part of the game. They're just another one of those things you can't control. They're part of your work day, and sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of the beauty to me of baseball is the human element of the game. Obviously, we're getting now more to the replay thing, and we'll see how that works out. I haven't really formed a great opinion on it, but as so far from what the media is saying, it's not going so smoothly. So you might see a few more calls get pushed out of the. But I enjoy the whole thing. The whole process of baseball is beautiful.
What would you tell a high school kid about professional baseball if he came up to ask you?
I would tell them that it's a lot of work and that a lot of things have to happen your way. I'd probably encourage most kids to try and get into a junior college or a college first, because that's the route I went. I wouldn't trade my college experience. The life experience that I got in college has prepared me to be a professional baseball player and kind of move through the game a little quicker. If you're one of those talented young kids that has a lot of money coming your way, then you obviously need to take that into consideration and probably head towards the pro ranks. But when it comes down to it, it's all about staying healthy and taking advantage of your opportunities. So if you're mature enough and you have the ability to recognize when an opportunity is in front of you and perform to a level in which you can take advantage of that opportunity, then I would say you're ready for it.
I think you need to do about 25 more.